Hey, good morning. Good morning. This is Ogle's Fish Room. I am going to try to make a very short video this morning, but the main focus I want to concentrate on today is I made another video just a few days ago. I don't think it's been a week. I think it's just been a few days. But I showed you how small this little dwarf water lily is, which I think they're pink. They're just absolutely gorgeous. But it was in one of my taller tanks, the column tanks, and it was far away from the light. And it was just not doing anything. There was, I don't know if you remember this, but it was literally just a couple leaves on the sand, sticking out of the sand, I should say. Now that is actually the seed pod right there. Yeah, there's a rock. There's a seed pod. It's of course not as big as it looks like in this video. But anyway, it's producing, I don't know if you can see the little one coming out of the side over here, but it's producing several of these plants. This one, as soon as it got big enough to come out of the seed, I put it down in the soil a little bit. But look at the growth here. And we're talking just a few days, a week tops. And look what it's done. It's gorgeous. These are fantastic plants, and again, not for a deep plant, but deep tank, but fairly shallow tank, like a nano tank. This is a 2.5. I'll back up here and show you the whole tank. This is a new thermostat that I have bought, a thermometer, I should say. You just push a little dot there, and it comes on. It'll stay for about 10 seconds. And it tells you exactly what the temperature is. I think they're fancy. It went off. Supposedly, according to the reviews, the battery in this will literally last 2 years because it turns itself off as soon as I'll do it again. There, you just push that, and it comes on, and in a few seconds it will go off. But you don't need more than a few seconds. It's 82.4. I personally like my. I heat up my entire fish room. It's one of the girls' bedrooms. They're in their 40s now, so they have moved out a long time ago. Anyway, this is the fish room. I close the door. I have a space heater, which is like it's not anything dangerous. It's not gas. It basically is electric and heats up oil that's sealed inside it. And I've had it for geez, probably 15 or 20 years, and it's still going strong. So it was a good investment. It was like 50 bucks back when I bought it. I have no idea what they are today. But anyway, this is the little 2.5. I did put some more moss in here. This is Java moss, not Java fern, but Java moss. And it seems to be growing well. There's a hole in the wood here. What you're seeing kind of around the edge is the wood rim of the hole, and I've shoved the moss inside it. I also shoved some in a little crack in the wood up here. The shrimp absolutely love it. That's all I have in here right now, except for, which I don't see him right now, I've got a baby, he's only an inch long, not rubber nose, bristle nose Pocossamus. Last time we saw him, he was right around this corner, but I don't see him right now. Anyway, don't worry about him. If he starts to get any bigger, which they really don't grow very fast, and they max out at about 4 inches, but when he starts to get any size at all, he will go into a 10-gallon, and so don't worry about that. He will have plenty to eat, but I just want to kind of accentuate the plant growth here. I mean, I bought a little cup of what's that called? I want to say hydrocorto. I know he looks giant, but that shrimp is not. Well, he's about an inch long. He's pretty good size. Might be a girl. I can't. No, I think he's a boy. Anyway, they seem to be very happy. As I said, that's all that's in here right now. It's probably about 15 shrimp and the one baby Pocossamus. There's some sand when I was adding some sand, so some got stuck on top of this piece of wood, which I personally like, and the shrimp seem to like it for some strange reason. Anyway, but the plants in the back are starting to grow. Those were babies when I put them in that I took out of other tanks. This I've already talked about. I just want to kind of show what you can do even with a small tank. Now, I agree. I would not put a betta in here. Well, I might. Well, I'm not going to, but I could put a female betta is small enough and stays small enough that you could probably do that. But I wouldn't add too much more. I might add a few shrimp if I was putting a betta in there for cleanup crew, but I'm not doing that this time. The betta that was in here is over in a 5-gallon now, and she seems pretty happy. Anyway, that's pretty much it on that tank. I will do a quick flyby on these. This is the column tank row. They are 20 inches high. The base, the reason I like these so much is there's one of the little baby, this is an albino Plecostomus, bristlenose as well. He's literally about an inch. There he is. Any cutie. Anyway, there's coolie loaches in the back. I don't see, well, I fed them a little bit ago. I don't see too many. Oh, there's another bristlenose that just came out over here. Again, they're about an inch to an inch and a quarter tops. He's sitting right there on top of that piece of wood. There he is. They're pretty little things. You just don't want the big ones because, man, they will outgrow your tank. And they're kind of destructive as well when they get big. Anyway, I don't see. Oh yes, there he is. The red crown tail. This is the black peach. Not peach. Rose tail. But he's black. I call him Fluffy. He's the only fish I've actually named because his fins look fluffy to me. They're supposed to be trying to make him look like a rose petals, but anyway, he's hard to see, but he's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. He's got coolie loaches for cleanup crew as well. That's his tank. This is the guppy tank, obviously. There's many generations of guppies in here. There's tiny ones, and those are all born in here. Everybody except the female there, she's new. Don't see my male. Oh, there he is in the back. Well, there he is. My male cobra tail. And that, well, one of those females is born there. I think it's the top one. Anyway, many generations. If you look closely, you can see the tiny ones. And coolie loaches for cleanup crew, a couple of nearite snails. Oh, there's another male. I've got 2 male cobra tails and, well, one what I call adult female that I just recently bought. The one, well, anyway. One of those is new and all the other ones are born there. So this is the angel tank, the ones that I recently moved over here. There's one over here and this one over here. And they seem to be really relaxing and enjoying the tank more, which I'm so thrilled about because I had such a hard time getting them out of the 75. And they were a little stressed and traumatized over that. And I put them in another tank that they just, all they did was hid, and that bothered me. And so I had to catch them out of that and put them over here. This one, they seem to have finally realized that I'm not moving them. And I'm simply not moving them because they're happy. That's the whole point of my life. Or my life in aquatics. Anyway, of course I do say the same thing to my wife. My whole purpose in life is to please her, but that's the way it should be. Anyway, but I want my fish to be happy. I love it when people say, how can you tell when your fish are happy? Well, they're acting normal. That's when fish are happy. If they're hovered up in a corner somewhere, just not moving, not eating, then they're unhappy. So as long as they're moving around and eating, which these are voracious eaters, this is the only tank that I feed twice a day. Because they are just, now they're not afraid of me. They're following me around every time I come in here. Anyway, that's their tank, which I think is lovely. I'm very happy with it. This is the 20. I'm trying to move fast here, people. This is the 20 gallon, which you've seen before. I just like to point out the dwarf water lily is doing fantastic. Of course, all other plants are doing pretty good too. I want to make something clear because I've been watching a lot of videos of other people's tanks. I do not put fertilizer in these. I do not. All the substrates are sand. Now, most of my tanks have been set up for years, so the sand has had time to get some, fish waste down in there and is feeding the plants. And also just like the Nubius feed off. See, that's just holding on to a piece of wood. Nubius just feed off the water column. Now, the stem plants like the Vallisneria, the Crips, that's a red, Winty red Crip that's doing beautifully. They do have to feed off the substrate. These over here do as well, but the Anubias do not. They feed off the water column. The water lily, of course, is in the substrate. There's just a lot of videos out there saying you have to have CO2 or you have to put fertilizer in and just all this stuff. I would agree with that if you're setting up a brand new tank. It has absolutely no bacteria in it. It has nothing in the substrate. You went to Ace Hardware or somewhere and bought play sand, which is where this sand has come from, but it was years ago. And if you just bought it and it's sterile, then yes, there's nothing in there for the plants. And at that point, if I do that, I, as a rule, just put the Nubius. What's the other one? I forget. Anyway, the Anubias does not rely on that. It relies on the fish waste in the water column. Anyway, I am going to try to move along here, but as you can see, I'm not having any problem here. There's no CO2, there's no fertilizer, it's just fish poop. Okay, that's feeding these plants. Same thing here. Look how well this recently added. Oh shoot! I wanted to say miniature, but it's not miniature. It's dwarf water lily. There's my female betta right there. She's a little camera shy, but she is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful fish. This is you've heard it before, but this is a veil tail. The normal females have very rounded, stubby finnage. Not that they can't be pretty, but to me this is prettier with the long finnage. And so she's referred to as a veil tail. I haven't seen these at Pet Supermarket. I do buy most of my fish at Pet Supermarket, but the bettas, it just depends on what they get in. But Pet Smart seems to get in a lot of females, and they're only $3.99. Even the pretty ones like this. Now you do have to kind of look for these. The veil tails are not very common. I've only seen about 3, which I bought all of them over a period of years. This is the one I have right now, and I think she's just adorable. And I think this is plenty of room for her. This is a 5 gallon. As you can see, once again, I don't add root tabs or anything like that in this particular, or most of my tanks. I have nothing like that. I have no added anything. No CO2, no nothing like that. Anyway, as you can see, my plants are doing pretty good. This is the same. I'll do the bottom one real quick. This has got the blind cavefish and 3 scissortail, not scissortail, silvertip tetras, which I don't see right. What's that? Oh yeah, okay. There are 3 blind cavefish, and then there's 3 silvertips in here, which I think that tank's doing well. But there's not enough. Anyway, I think it's fine. This is the 29. There are, we've gone through this before. There are tons and tons and tons and tons of fish in here, probably 30 in all total. But most of them, they are out when I feed them. When I turn these lights on at 7 a.m. in the morning, Everybody's out and about because they know that's feeding time. But then they kind of go and hide in different places. There's just fish everywhere. I know it's hard. There's some back there. I know it's hard to see, but that's okay. I've got this heavily, not just planted, but a lot of structure in here. A lot of Nubius on wood. There's some over here, some over there. Now that big leaf plant right there is fairly new. It is a Cryptocorin is the family, and this particular one I think is a lutea. And the leaves are a little bit bigger. This is Cryptocorin as well, but this is called Wenty Green, and these are babies. I just planted these fairly recently, and I got some more over here, and then these are Valsinaria. I just pulled some of these out. They're over in this corner. I didn't think it was getting enough light. I just did that last night. And this is the last tank I'm going to show you here. Please excuse me for rolling here. Okay, this is my latest. Well, the tank's been here a while, but I turned this big piece of wood around. It was toward the base, which is here. Was toward the back, and it was leaning this way and created, I could see behind it, but it created an awful lot of shadow in the tank, which I didn't like, and I really love this piece of wood. It sticks out a few inches, but the top is very thick. It's a 2-inch top on this thing. And anyway, right now it pretty much only has, well, it does have a Autosynclus right there. There he is. Has one of those. It has 2 albino Cory cats, which I just put in yesterday from one of my other tanks. And I wanted to kind of explain that as well. This had 2 nearite snails that, I mean, were just pooping up the floor, and I never had that problem in any other tank. And so I did a lot of research, because you don't even see any right now, but this was just covered in black pellets that the nearite snails put out. I have taken them out and put them in another tank. But what I realized is that in most people that were complaining about the nearite snail poop, it's a tiny tank, like nano tanks. So there's not enough water movement in there to move the poop around. Excuse my terminology, the snail waste. And so it just sat there and kind of puddled up. It was horrible looking. As you can see, not only did I take the snails out, but by adding the, now you can't do this to a true nano tank, but by putting the 2 Cory cats in, one you just saw and the other one's in the back side there. So there is plenty of room for a fish that wants to get out of the light or have a little privacy or whatever. The back side of this is all open behind this piece of wood. Anyway, the point is that I'm trying to answer any questions about this in case other people are having the same problem. This piece of wood comes up so high, you can see the outflow of my outside hang on the back filter there. Now I did position the sponge filter to where you can see the outlet is pointing this way, so it's getting some movement in the tank, but not enough to really affect the bottom. Now if that piece of wood was not there, that outflow of the hang on the back filter might have moved around the waste enough, because I have had people ask me, why is your sand so clean looking? Well, it's just the movement of the water stirs it up, and the movement of certain fish. Back to the Cory cats, that is one of their benefits, is they do this all day long, and mostly all night long. They just scoot along the bottom, and they're filtering the sand to find bits of food, but inadvertently what they're doing is stirring the bottom up, and that moves that waste around and helps it to get sucked up into the filter system. So I've kind of solved my problem with that. So I added 2 Cory cats that help stir up the bottom. They're the 2 together there, and one's around back. He might be coming up front here, but anyway. And I took the nearite snails out. The auto sinkless should be enough to take care of the algae. Right now I see not a drop of algae anywhere. And if it does get worse, I'll add another auto sinkless because they don't seem to poop like snails. This might be a touchy subject for some people, but basically the snails feed on anything that's dead, dead vegetation, dead, leftover particles of food, anything like that, which is a good thing. However, when they excrete, when they poop, go to the bathroom, it comes out as a little hard block that has had all the good stuff taken out by the snail's body, and it doesn't break down very easily because all the organic material, if you will, that could decay and fall apart like it does on fish waste isn't there. Excuse me. And so it basically just is a block unless you've got some water flow. And as I said, all my other tanks have enough water flow to prevent that from happening. But in this particular case, I had to remove the nearite snails. Okay. Also, this is the only tank, I want to correct what I said earlier. When I got these Amazons, I just got them for a hell of a price. The DeLand Pet Supermarket, they got a shipment in. I mean, these are almost to the top of my tank, which is 20 inches high. Okay, so these are literally, the one on the right is like 18 inches high. This one's almost 20. Let's call it 19. And I don't want them to melt and, decay and all that kind of stuff. So one thing I did is turn on this particular tank, which is a top fin. This is a top fin. It's 12 by 12 at the base. The column is called a top fin 10-gallon column. It's 10 by 10 at the base, but it's 20 inches high, and it has a 2-inch high top, which has lights built in. I don't normally like them so much, so I add my own lights, which I can turn on and off with a controller and turn it blue at night. In this particular case, I was worried about the Amazons not getting enough light because they are 20 inches down below the light source. So I just love these shrimp. They just clean all day long. I just love that, and all night long. Anyway, so I did turn on the lights that come with it. It is a push button, which is fine because I haven't used them in any of my other columns because it's not necessary. But in this particular case, the reason this looks so much lighter than my other tanks is because it does have the extra lights, or the lights that come with the tank, turned on during the day now to help with these the growth of these. Also, for the first time ever in my in my hobby, I have used the Seachem Flourish root tabs, and I put one in this far left corner, one right here in the middle of the tank, kind of a couple inches this way of the Cory cat, and one over here in that little space between the Velocinaria. I have done enough research that tells me that the Amazons are the most voracious substrate eaters. I mean, they require a lot of food to maintain, and they really need those. So for the first time ever, I'm using a supplement in my sand. Now, I have not had any real problems with my other plants growing, but I'm curious, since I did put one over there in that space I'll move it to the left, in the middle of the video here. I will see if that boosts the growth of these, but as you can see, they're doing pretty good by themselves. So anyway, that's it. I'm sorry I talked so long this morning, but I really wanted to get out some of that information about the snails in case other people are having that problem. I understand in the nano tanks, you don't have, with little fish and shrimp and stuff, you don't have the water flow. You usually, like in my 2.5 over there, I only have a sponge filter. I don't want any babies if produced by the shrimp sucked up into the filter. and which are easily done. But with the sponge filter, it's not, and it's very safe. But it doesn't produce a lot of water flow, and that's fine for a nano tank. But you shouldn't have nearite snails in there, and if you do, you're going to get some fish waste. So that's the end of my story. I'm signing out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. This is Ogle's Fish Room signing off. Bye-bye.